from the Workplace Ninja Summit in Baden. Smart talks, sharp insights, and stories worth sharing. This is the Workplace Ninja podcast.
So welcome back at a new recording at the Workplace Ninja Summit in Baden 2025. My name is Frans Houdendorp and I have with me co-host Kenny and Kim.
Hello.
Hello. So you're into the topic?
I'm into the topic? Yeah, should be, right? Otherwise we wouldn't be here, right?
That's the case. And we have some Microsoft folks on the table. So luckily that we have them, Maggie and Ben. Please welcome. Maybe a short introduction from your side.
Okay, so great to be here. I'm Maggie, Dakeva. I'm a product manager for Windows Autopilot. I also drive company portal and a couple of BIOS management solutions we have through Intune.
So I love that topic. So let's dive into the kind of topics in a few seconds. So Ben?
Yeah, so I'm weird. It's kind of weird hearing your own voice.
Yeah, you hear your own voice.
I'm Ben Yem. I've been in Microsoft for 29 years. I'm a group engineering manager. I manage 5 teams. Of those include app, compliance, resource access, UX, and remote help. Those
all
are
that important stuff.
Yeah, I love these kind of topics that we have on the table. So what we will explore, we will dive in some Windows and Intune, Autopilot, the user experience, and probably some investments in securing stuff. They are probably there. What is the most important thing that is driving now customers to shape new features for? What are the most important things that you are building on in the last few months that was coming out?
Cool. So we did talk a little bit about the ones we have in the Windows, what's new in Windows management session. I can speak a bit more about some of the Autopilot ones I've been a bit excited about. So we did a close collaboration with Windows 365 team.
Yep.
We are now supporting Frontline Shared, and we're actively working with them to enable for their other offerings for looking at cloud apps, looking at enterprise, looking at Frontline dedicated. So look for those announcements coming. And then the other big thing that we're working on right now, device association. And we like to say this as many times as needed because we know people need this, and we're planning to start the preview soon, so we'll be looking at signups. So we do encourage people to reach out about this one. I think they'll like the new functionality and will help, especially those that are using user-driven, kind of move more easily to device preparation. They see more of the value that they've been looking for.
Yeah, nice. Ben, is there any specific feature or topic that you are excited about that has come out in the last few months, for example?
Yeah, script installer, which we talked about in the presentation, is something that's going to be really, really important, because when we talk to customers, what we find is that in general, people are okay if they have to work a little bit to be able to deploy their apps, but when they can't, when they don't have the tools, then it becomes a real adoption blocker. So script installer will allow people effectively to, deploy almost anything that they want. They might have to do some work and create a PowerShell script, but that extensibility and being able to, create that content is actually going to remove a big adoption blocker from a lot of our customers.
Coming a bit on the app model and the whole structure of apps in Intune, I found it interesting that today, as you're expanding also the options, what we saw in the past is you built a lot of things in the past that were SCCM alike. I know that a lot of people go modern, but you still have those old kind of LOB apps and everything that aren't that easy to transfer. Is there anything you think that today is really lacking to make that jump? Because what I found interesting, and then it's maybe also Maggie's little kit, is the feedback you gave in the session, like that we are thinking of putting the apps, SCCM apps, in the company portal. Yeah. I found that personally, on one side a good move, on the other side a real weird move, because it will not force people or twist their arm to do the migration.
So I used to work in Config Manager. I actually worked on the app model, among other things, in Config Manager, and so I do have a lot of empathy for people who are there. Aside from the things that we talked about, like script installer was a big thing that people were talking about that they needed support for. I think some other things that are top of mind for us that Config Manager could do that we don't quite have yet. Maintenance windows I hear a lot about. App in use we talked a little bit about. That's something that we're going to invest in. There's one other thing, what am I thinking of? One of the people that I was talking with today, one of the questions that got asked was sequencing, like app sequencing. So that's also something that we've talked about internally. So I'm pretty sure I'm missing one or two, but those are some big ones that I've heard that people really are blocked on.
Yeah. The sequencing one is a big one for Outbound as well, because people are looking for that additional control.
Yeah, what my customers sometimes miss in that area is as well, if you have this, you would like sequencing, but also if an app would fail on an install, some are really should be marked as really important, should be there, and otherwise you continue and we will fix it later.
Actually, that's the whole goal and the approach we've taken with device preparation. And one of the big reasons why we only say limit to 10, because we want to prompt customers to really think about what are the actual critical apps that you absolutely need. Do you need the others, or can the user still wait for them just at the desktop so the user can start setting their device with other things, read up on HR, start trainings, all the initial things you set up on your first day, and additional apps might come in the background. That was also the idea behind device preparation. We didn't want the user to be just stuck in Ubi for hours and hours and hours. Just think about what is absolutely necessary, get that delivered during Ubi, otherwise let the user use their device.
Maybe a quick question regarding the device prep. A lot of customers are still stuck in the original autopilots because they are working with the vendors and the OEMs are uploading the hashes. So with device prep, you're doing it on your own from an IT perspective. That's a lot of administrative work from an IT perspective that you need to do again. Is this a feature that is also coming to device prep, that the OEM can put the serials there? Yeah,
so with device prep, we have corporate identifiers right now, but they're not to be confused with registration. They're not really the alternative for registration. They do give you control to make sure only trusted devices get into your environment, but they don't give you all of the additional features that you get with registration. So that was a big reason why we started investing in device association. And device association is what will eventually replace registration as well. And that's what we use for device preparation. The benefits of it is that it can support our sovereign cloud customers. It also will not have some of the challenges that we've seen with the ecosystem during motherboard replacements, for example. That's been a huge issue and still is to this day.
Still is,
So we are actively working with all the OEMs. Actually, all the OEMs are aware of device association. They have been asking, where do I get it? When do I get it? Like they want to use it as soon as possible. We're trying to make sure we don't introduce new processes for them, so they'll still be using OEM API. We want them to move to it as soon as possible. That's why we're trying to make the transition from where they use association to when they used registration, switching to association, make that as seamless as possible. That's also why this is our major focus. We do see this as one of the biggest things that customers are still waiting on.
Is there a timeline? Not officially.
Unless something is coming like this week with 2509, I'm not sharing timelines.
There's something called Ignite too, Kim.
I think Ignite might be focused more on AI, but...
Talking about the user experience, there are new announcements. Can you walk us through some of the new enhancements there? What, from a user perspective, what do I see as an end user?
Do you mean for onboarding or in general?
For example?
Or... So some things that people are going to start seeing in Ubi, for example, we have a couple features I talked about today, actually, Windows backup for organizations and then Windows updates. So the Windows backup for organizations will allow your users to just restore all of their user settings from a previous device. That makes it easier for them when they get a new device refresh to not lose precious time being productive by going and switching all their settings back to what they were. This is one of the most annoying things, especially when you set them for the first time like 2 years ago and you already forgot what they were. So that is one thing that users will have it as an option. immediately after they provide their credentials during OB setup. And the other thing is the Windows update. So we have been hearing for a long, long time, hey, can you enable updates during autopilot? I need to make sure my device is secure. So we're doing that. There's actually another aspect there, the way, so we partnered with Windows team on that, and the way the direction they went with was, let's make sure we secure by default all devices out there. So secure, it's enabled by default to make sure that all devices can get updated if they're pending any updates. But because we know our commercial customers often want to have more control, so we have also an ESP setting, and we've also added the functionality to block on update ring policies. So if you want a specific update for a specific device, we'll also honor that.
Yeah, I'm a bit puzzled about that one, that they really want to update, because it will take the user a long time, 20 minutes extra. That's not being productive. You could patch that later during the process and then a reboot. So I'm a bit puzzled, and I think we had a discussion yesterday as well. I think it's also a bit more company education. I don't personally, it's an opinion of course, but I think being productive, of being patched and need to wait 30 minutes extra and have a chance of failure on having that machine ready, then just wait a bit longer, and in 2 hours you have everything. So
that's fair on the extra time. One other thing I'll call out though is often users will kick off the process, then they see some loading page, it's taking more than a minute, I'll just go get my coffee, So they might not actually sit there on the first day and wait for that device to complete. Whereas they have to get that update sooner or later.
True.
Most users would just suspend and avoid and do that later as far as they can.
Yeah, but there I think you have this identity and conditional access rules where you need to be compliant within a day, and that's it.
Yeah, I was actually going to talk about compliance. We didn't talk about that today, but one of the things that, from the end user experience, that we're really kind of invested in is to reduce the number of hops that it takes to figure out when a device is non-compliant. Like how does the user remediate that? So I know that in some of the iOS flows, they're really trying to streamline it. We're trying to streamline it across the board so that the discoverability of non-compliance and how quickly you can remediate does not involve multiple drill throughs and quick stops. So that's one of our focus areas on compliance. The other thing I'd say is, you can think about end user experience, or you can also think about admin experience. Yeah. If you think about admin experience, you can argue that the whole EAM flow is the investments that we've been, have really been in trying to improve the experience, right? Because technically, we talked about auto updates. Technically, anyone can do that. They just have to redeploy policies, but no admin wants to actually take that mental overhead. And so, we've heard that feedback. We want to make it easier for our admins too, so we're investing there.
Anyway, don't get me wrong. I think having the option is good, but it is a choice. It depends on what you as an organization wants to accomplish. But I don't get me wrong. I think it's a great option, but it's a bit of a dual challenge you have there, or a dual choice.
Yeah. Well, that's why we're adding the control after all.
Yeah. No, that's good.
Because we do hear that feedback from some customers as well, and we know that they might have specialized devices, for example, where they want to make sure this is not disrupting the flow as well.
Yeah, but if you extend that, maybe we would need to talk that later on. But if you extend that, I do this kind of things at customers a lot. With OSD Cloud enrolling, ensuring that the device is fully up to date before we hand it over to an end user. So if I can use the updates within the pre-provision state, then I don't have to do anything with the end user on the update. Maybe the last one, but not the full set of updates. So that's one thing that I love to use.
But coming back, Frans, and that's a good point, but then I would love to see Microsoft doing more investment in the hot patch strategy, where you have the kind of baseline layer and just putting hot patches on top.
Yeah. Talking about what was in the description of the session, that the functionality will be enhanced to secure your Windows estate. Is that more or less for the update part, or are there other topics within securing the Windows environment as well?
It's a tricky one. So we do do a whole lot of security things. Some of them are not necessarily as features we advertise as that. Many of them are things we do actually behind the scenes. One of the things I think also Jason spoke in his earlier session was things like multi-admin approval, which is an example of a feature that an admin will set. Generally, our rule is we try to keep security, make sure everyone is secure by default. Meaning you won't see necessarily or have to set these features, because even with multi-admin approval, if you noticed in the morning how many people raise their hands,
Not a lot.
not everyone is doing it,
much.
right?
Yeah.
So that's why we try not to rely on admin to set it up and try to kind of make sure they're secure from the start. I don't know, Ben, do you know of any upcoming ones you have your teams might have worked on for security? I don't know if there was anything related to compliance, for example, that might be.
No, I mean, from the content that we covered today, I think we covered the main ones. The stuff in my wheelhouse in terms of the products that we own, resource access, compliance, all of those things, right, are really end user security tools. I don't know if I have anything right now that to share other than the things that we've already talked about.
Maybe there were questions regarding the third part, the OEMs and the vendors. So you were talking about Lenovo probably soon having access as well. I'm guessing you will have some integration to do BIOS management with them.
Maybe.
We're
Okay.
talking.
Yeah, but these kind of scenarios don't talk about what we are plan to do. But when I look at the customers, then these kind of functionality is, I think, also by others, is requested many times. I think we have that as well in.
Which one?
The BIOS, the integration.
The
I'm
UEFI
working.
management itself and the DCI initiative that is there. But I also think, and this is a lot of customers require it or demand it, but it's not always easy because a lot of vendors have different ways of doing things, and you need to work with them and get it implemented. I don't think that's an easy task for you guys to get it going.
And they have different goals as well, and different things they want to make sure that are important for their business. Yeah, so that's why I'm saying we're talking, but nothing to share that yet. One thing I wanted to, by the way, as we were talking, I remember that it's worth calling out for security for hybrid out-about customers. If you guys have not moved to the new connector, do so. We're disabling it on October 31st. So
Fantastic. Can you do it sooner?
if all the people had moved, we would have. But
Maybe all the customers in Belgium has already moved, but
I think,
the world is much larger than only Belgium.
I know. But everybody that knows me, I'm not a big fan of that connector. I think.
Totally agree with you.
yeah. That's why you if you were at our session, you see like one of the things I talked about is you thought about for cloud native.
Yeah.
Don't bother with hybrid, because then you're locked. That device becomes hybrid for the rest of its life.
It's
right?
also in the story, adding cloud value, adding all those security features. This doesn't really enable you to go to the next level.
There probably was a reason why you developed it, but a lot of customers are abusing it to stay. To stick with their old ways of working, and
that's a bit like the company portal announcement. We're thinking of making those SCCM apps available in the company portal. This is another thing that will maybe customer will question, should I move, because now I have best of both.
Yeah, I think the main difference between like the hybrid and co-management that I see is with hybrid you are kind of stuck until the next reset. It's not easy to just get rid of it.
True.
You make a device co-manage, you can just remove co-management and you're
It's
good.
the same
You don't
with
have to
CMG,
reset.
right? Yeah, if you have CMG, then there is no incentive to really move your apps unless you really want to unplug SCCM out of your environment.
Nice. Let's do a recap. I covered device preparation. We have apps, compliance, secure the Windows and environment. Are there any topics missing?
We have some updates that we talked about a little bit.
Good to add.
We have new workloads in Explorer that I like to call out.
Anything else missing? You give the session, you attend the session, so I wasn't there.
No, I think the session was clear. I think you, Kim, had some in your mind about applications.
Regarding the app management stack, as a lot of Intune admins with a previous config manager experience, we know that the feature set is a little bit limited in Intune, so it was good to see that you guys are working on transforming it like the good old config manager days. Are there more features coming from config manager to Intune? Like, I'm thinking of one in config manager, for example, you had to simulate a deployment, so you could see what would happen if I would deploy it. These are like items that we don't have today in Intune, but it could be, sometimes I miss them.
So I'll say this much. I've talked to my PM teams a lot. We definitely understand the gaps, right? So I think that the key for us is basically figuring out which ones are the highest value gaps to go after, right? So for example, I mean, I've heard sequencing a lot. Is sequencing more important than, things like maintenance windows? Is it more important than things like a script installer and things like that?
Depends on who you ask, but
Yeah.
It does. So that's some of the challenge. But when I look at what the app management stack means, part of it is the modern management stack and figuring out how do we adapt to that. But the other part of it is like how do we really figure out a clean transition plan for all the people who are in config manager. So
I also think the application landscape is changing rapidly. You have Winget, you have a different set of let's say repositories where you can get those kind of applications. So also there I understand that not everything is needed from the old space. What I personally would love to see is that maintenance windows would come back, or a kind of maintenance window that you have a better control on the specialized machines. That would really make I think companies move faster to Intune, because this is today still a big question on how do I solve this.
So that is definitely pretty high on our radar in terms of what we're thinking about. The other thing that we mentioned briefly today, and I don't think we talked about it yet, is app inventory, right? Like a part of understanding the app ecosystem is like, which apps are out there, and can I trust that data? We consider that a part of the app space too, and that is something that was very high on our priority stack.
Yeah.
And if I am a customer working with Microsoft products and I want to give feedback to you guys, do I need to sign up for the customer connection program, for example, or is there any other?
That's the best way to get access to the latest previews, latest news as well. As you know, the customer connection program is all under NDA, so that's where we feel comfortable sharing a bit more than what we share here, for example, which is a public conference. You can take photos, upload them, and all that.
Yeah.
And all of our upcoming previews, we usually make them always available for customer connection program customers. So that'll be the best way.
You need a partner or a customer of Microsoft in order to be part of the customer connection program, because you sign up for the NDA. But if you want to give feedback, that's the place to be.
Yeah.
I think also in the console, in the Intune console, you can always...
That's another way, yes.
That's a frowny.
But sometimes that doesn't allow for too much to share, right?
Yeah.
But like for quick feedback, that's also a good option.
Most of the time when you don't find anything in the console you're looking for, or something is really missing, then it's an easy way to give feedback.
So I'll just say, up front also too, that the reason why I came to this conference was actually to talk to our customers, right? So there are all those official channels. It might not be the most scalable thing, but if people want to give me feedback, I'm always happy to take it, and
it's understandable, because most of the time I think it's channeled also through account managers within the company. You guys are engineering, but you also have a kind of sales department, and that's where a bit of the friction sometimes is in prioritization, I guess.
Well, so I'm from the old school config manager days, and if you guys are from the old config manager days, you maybe remember the TAP programs where we really talked to all of the customers. I remember as an engineer, when I went through those, I got a lot of value out of understanding that. So on the engineering side, we really do understand. I want to understand the pain and
I understand.
Yeah.
And also, if people are reading on the screen as well, then they need to attend the focus group. So we have some focus groups here
Definitely.
as well to give feedback to the team there.
Yeah, we have the Intune core focus group tomorrow, and I believe the Outbound one will be tomorrow as well.
Yeah. So if you have feedback, join the focus groups there. Thanks for joining on this recording.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I love to talk about these kind of topics.
Yeah, it's
really
always
interesting.
nice. Yeah.
So thanks for joining, and if you're watching, there will be new videos and new recordings that we will do tomorrow. You can find us on our social channels. Look forward to the new ones. Thanks for joining. Until tomorrow.
Thanks for joining the Workplace Ninja podcast. Stay curious, stay connected, and keep sharpening your ninja skills. Until next time.